Straw Hut Media.
Hello, On the Rockers. You ready to get drag clown crazy? We have Drag Race major alum and All-Stars winner Jimbo here to spill the tea about a variety of things, including his Drag Circus North American tour launching this month. And we welcome back guest co-host, Broadway and drag guru Josh Ferri to discuss hot topics from the current season 16 of Drag Race. We got some shade with me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass as the drinks begin. It's On the Rocks.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, buttons and bows and pantyhose. On the Rocks podcast, the place where we're too glam to give a damn. And we're drinking wine today. Wine on the rocks. You know, we're just going to mix it up a little bit because the vodka, sometimes it hits us so hard by the end of the show. We're like, so we're doing wine because we're being classy. Okay, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at On the Rocks on Air, and on Facebook, On the Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email, book me for a pride, wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will be there. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Also send us your comments, guest requests, and guest questions at info at ontherocksradioshow.com, because we got them. We got your questions. The show's presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to our now over 300 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com for free. You can watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Out@.tv app, and on Facebook Watch, streaming with pride on SVTV and on Channel 31 on the East Coast. We proudly tape at UBN Go Studios, your one-stop place for podcasting. All right, let's get the show on the road. Returning to On the Rocks, Josh Ferri worked in the Broadway community for 12 years before moving to California. He began his career as a press agent for musicals like Spring Awakening and Xanadu, as well as the Public Theater. He then joined the team at Broadway.com before launching editorial content for Broadway Box, where he served as an editor for 6+ years, creating a variety of viral and popular YouTube series. And as a drag queen newbie, performing as Norma Lee High, he won his first drag competition over season 3 of Vanity's Drag Star Challenge in Palm Springs, and has since been appearing around Southern California. Please welcome Josh Ferri.
Hey, thrilled to be back. Thanks for having me.
Okay, as a drag star newbie, and we can say star because you've won a challenge, you won a challenge competition. You are now doing the damn thing, and you've gone from like, oh, I have the one show a week. Now you're performing all of the time. Did you ever in your life imagine that drag would play such a big part in your life?
No, it's wild. I feel like I've flirted with drag for a long time and never want to make the commitment to it. I feel like there was a big part of it is also, being a hoe. You understand the hoe life. Like, to give it up.
What does that mean?
Well.
Ho.
But there's something about drag where you're like, I had to give up my beard. I had to give up the things that like make you like very sexy to our community right now.
Interesting.
And I had trouble like giving up one for the other. And now I'm actually thrilled that I did. I'm living the dream. I'm practically just making drag my full-time job now. I'm like very close to being able to live like just off that out there in Palm Springs and in Southern California. It's been amazing.
I mean, but even as your friend, I have seen the changes. Like, where we would have gone day drinking, we actually went downtown to go shopping for drag outfits.
Yes.
And then your whole like closet has changed. Now it's like wig, dress, outfit. And the money that's spent, by the way, on drag. I mean, people still don't understand. Even if you're just like a community drag queen and just starting out, it takes a lot of money.
It's so expensive. Luckily, there is a big community within it, and a lot of my closet, I have to say, I've gotten from the community.
That's
like
great.
Queens in town, like Rosemary Galore, she's given me stuff. Heclina, when Heclina died, I went to her estate sale and I ended up with half my closet right now. Another one of my neighbors once saw me at like 1:30 in the morning with like my wig in my hand, my shoes, but like fully done. And he was like, "You do drag?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's me." He was like, "I used to do drag." And he had this fabulous closet and it was all just sitting there. He's in his 70s. He's like, "I don't perform anymore.
That's amazing.
I'd rather it be on somebody and like see a spotlight than just sit in my closet."
I think
it's like a lot of community helped alleviate the cost of it.
And I'm making an assumption, but I think it's very different in Palm Springs, and that is the culture, is to help out because it's such a small community, which can work for you and not, because if you burn your bridge with one drag queen, you burned all your bridges.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, luckily I'm very like chill and friendly, but it is easy, especially in a town that's so small. Like if you get a bad reputation, then suddenly you don't have a career there anymore. You have to move.
I mean, I'm privy to some of the politics in Palm Springs drag. Girl, there's a show there. Definitely a show there. And speaking, after we talk with Jimbo, we're going to talk about some heavy hot topics from the current season of Drag Race, because there's a lot going on. We're, 3-4 episodes in?
It's 5, yeah.
Oh, 5 episodes in. And there's a lot to talk about. So stay tuned after we talk to Jimbo, because we're gonna spill all the tea, because we can. We're going to get sassy. I mean, we're going to drop it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. All right, let's welcome our man lady of the hour, best known for competing on the first season of Canada's Drag Race, the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race UK versus the World, and the winner of the 8th season of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. Jimbo has quickly become a drag icon, garnering international recognition. He is a known designer for show-stopping looks and creating a spectacle that leaves audiences screaming for more. He heads House of Jimbo, which is a clothing brand, merchandise retailer, and special events producer. His North American tour starts February 29th in Michigan and travels to, get this, 57 cities.
Good for her.
It's a 2-hour show, by the way, y'all. So last year he also signed with William Morris Endeavor, so he is here to slay and stay. Let's take a look at Jimbo Drag Circus.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you like good times? Do you like sexy clowns? Do you like the sweet smell of bologna in the moonlight? Then call now. Step right up and feast your eyes on the bizarre wonders and mystifying feats of Jimbo's Drag Circus.
So please welcome to the show, Jimbo. Uh-oh.
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 Hello. Hi. How are you?
Good. Okay, we're going to dive right in it. Obviously, you're known for your special wit and comedy, but I want to know, when did that sense of humor kind of start as a kid? Because you did drag play as a kid. What does that mean?
Well, I've always kind of been a little bit girly, a little bit feminine, and growing up, my brother and I, we used to steal my grandma's clothes and my mom's clothes, anything that kind of had that kind of sparkle or fun, and then we would hide in my basement away from my dad and live our little fantasies, our little gay boy fantasies, playing around and swishing here and there, and wearing towels for hair because we didn't have wigs at that time. So yeah, I loved playing in girls' clothing growing up. And then, of course, when that was a horrible thing to my dad at that time, he was just like, no, not my boys. And so we were really discouraged from that. And then it became quite embarrassing when I was in high school and stuff. If my mom ever were to bring that up, I would just be mortified. Like, don't tell people I did that.
Wow.
But then later in high school, I did a little drag as a sexy schoolgirl. And I, of course, loved doing that, my Britney Spears fantasy. And then I got into drag later when I was doing clown. I started doing performance and performing as a performance artist. And I started to weave a little bit of drag into my persona. And then I really loved it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to become a drag queen.
So was comedy part of your household growing up, or where did you get this wit from?
Well, my parents are both kind of naturally funny storytellers. We love entertaining people, and my parents used to love having parties and inviting people over and going on kind of wild holidays and stuff. So they were both kind of entertainers, and my mom had a big family, lots of sisters and brothers, and I think that lends to kind of a quick wit. And I didn't really realize until I was in high school, going on the bus to school, no one really wanted to sit with me, and I was kind of awkward. I was obviously didn't really fit in very well, and one day I ended up making a joke on the bus. I don't know exactly what I said, but I made people laugh. And the next day people wanted to sit with me, and I was like, oh my God. Like,
there we go.
And then I became kind of known for being a little bit funny. And then I learned like, oh, okay, telling jokes and being funny can make you friends. And then it kind of shifted from me there.
Now, when you tour the world as Jimbo, is there an expectation of people that they just assume that you're going to be funny? Do you feel like you have
off
to
stage
perform? Yeah, even off stage when you're traveling, do you feel like you have to be Jimbo, when you're sightseeing or hanging out in London, or do you feel like it's something you can tap in and out of now?
Well, I think the beauty of drag and about my drag and who I am is that I'm kind of me all the time, just at different levels. So I don't necessarily think anyone's expecting me to perform, on an ongoing basis when I'm just hanging out with them. But I think just by nature of my personality and my curiosity and kind of who I am, people just tend to laugh and have a good time with me. So I think, I don't think there's an expectation. It's just when you're kind of open to having a good time, you try to make people laugh anyways, and it just happens.
Yeah. Okay, little fun fact. You studied biology at university, which I think is insane. Were you any good at biology?
Yes, I was really good. I went and studied at a field course in Uganda with the University of Cambridge, and I had an incredible time. And I went to school in Stockholm for a little bit, studying ecology there. And as an artist, it's all about curiosity. I was really curious about how things work, and biology is all about the natural world and how our bodies work and how science works, and all of that information it all weaves into your art form and your understanding of the world. And so I'm so glad that I have my science background. But I definitely, when I was doing the ecology and everyone was kind of interested in studying like the wing of a fruit fly or like the leg of a centipede for 30 years, I was like, where are the people? Where's the fun? This is fun to look at now, but I want to go do something awesome with people, entertain people. So I was definitely more attracted to people and having a good time. So needless to say, I'm no longer an ecologist.
We left that realm. You got into costume design. You were doing films for a Hallmark Channel, worked on a television series, a children's television series. How did Drag Race first come into play with that? What was your audition tape like that? How did you go from that world to the Drag Race workroom?
Well, I watched Drag Race as a fan while I was working in theater and as a performance artist and clown. And I saw a lot of similarities in the competition to what I was doing in real life, which is working with limited budgets and working with unconventional materials to create elevated costumes or experiences or to tell stories. And so watching that show with my friends and watching it as myself, I saw certain parallels to what I was actually doing as a performance artist and as a drag performer. So people kept saying, or my friends kept saying, oh my God, you have to get on the show. You would win the show. If you could get on the show, you would do so good. And at that time, it wasn't in Canada. It was only an American show, and there wasn't really any talk or notion that it would be an international franchise. So I really didn't think I would ever be able to go on. And so I always dreamed that I would obviously have the opportunity. But at that time, it really seemed like you had to live in America, and I didn't know how I was going to achieve that at that time. So Brooklyn Heights was kind of the first Canadian on the show, and she was amazing, runner-up to Evie Oddly, and opened the door for us Canadians and international queens to compete. So it was really cool. And following her season on there is when Canada's Drag Race started a year after that. And as soon as I found out they were going to be doing a race in Canada, I was like, I have to be on this show. And my friend Shiraz, who is a video producer and a friend that we had collaborated doing comedy shows here at my place, he had always said, if you ever want to do an audition tape, or if there's any way to get you on this show, you would absolutely kill it. And I'd be happy to do that. So when I saw the auditions were open, I contacted contacted my friend Shiraz, and we worked with my partner, and we really put our all into getting this package together and putting in my first audition.
That was fresh.
Jimbo, who's the girl from Canada you talk to the most still?
I think the girl I talk to the most from Canada is probably my sister Scarlett Bobo. I see her when I'm in LA, and
We see her now. She's a SoCal queen.
Yeah, she is.
yeah, exactly. So it's awesome. She's living her best life in WeHo, having an awesome time, and I always love going out and seeing her whenever I'm there. I'm so grateful. We have an awesome sisterhood. Canada's Drag Race season 1. It had its drama, but all of it got resolved, I think, in the years following. And so we have a really awesome sisterhood that we keep track of each other online, and we see each other whenever we're in different cities. But it's awesome to see Bobo. I just saw Tainomi over in the UK. We did DragCon UK together, and so I love all my sisters.
Now, we know you've done so many iterations of Drag Race at this point, literally all around the globe. Which iteration has taught you most about yourself?
I guess they all taught me something different about myself, just who I was at that time as a performance artist and as a performer. I think definitely going into Drag Race All-Stars 8, I was the most kind of prepared. I was the most comfortable, and I was also presenting and operating at a level that I wanted to present and operate at. That was coming into Canada's Drag Race. I was still kind of a baby queen in so many ways, and I had a lot of growing to do as a makeup artist and as a performer. So I was just so grateful to have the opportunity to go back and to perform at the level I did.
Jimbo, having come from theater before Drag Race and seeing people like Jinx Monsoon, Nina West, Jackie Cox, people who went from Drag Race that are now working in the theater. Is
Even
that
on
something
Broadway.
that's what I'm saying. That are like, Nina's leading the tour, Jinx is on Broadway. Is this something that you want for yourself? Like, people look at you like, oh, Jimbo should do theater too, like be on stage too.
Yeah, and I am going to be doing my own show, Jimbo's Drag Circus, which is my
We know, girl.
Yeah.
show.
The U.S. is scared. Like, it's like 57
ready.
cities. What is happening?
I know, it's crazy.
But for
It's
you,
gonna
you'd
be
rather
wild.
produce and create something on yourself than to play something in a book musical, say?
Well, I'm definitely open to doing that as well. I think my background and my start is in improv theater, and then I moved into film and television. And now I'm happy to go back to the theater, and I've never really done a big kind of acting role. I was always kind of the guy behind the scenes making the wardrobe or making the sets or making the puppets. In my community, there wasn't so many people that could do that part. So I was always like, I want to be in the show. And they're like, too bad, you've got to make all this. and so then I did that for a long time. And the whole time I was always wishing, like, one day I want to be the person on stage. One day I want to be the star of the show. One day I want all of the work I'm doing to be in service of my stories and my ideas and my creativity. So I'm just so grateful. I'm able to come back to my community here in Victoria and to work with a lot of the people I worked with in film and theater before, to create this show, which is an amalgamation of kind of theater and drag performance. So all kind of set in an old timey kind of circus vibe. So I'm really excited.
Jimbo, we got this from a fellow drag queen. Do you ever feel overshadowed by the Jimbo persona in terms of you just a regular guy?
Luckily, that was kind of one thing that I tried to do with my name being my actual name and not creating a real divide between myself and my drag character. I don't feel overshadowed by my drag self. I love my drag self. I wish it was easier to be my drag self and I would just be like that all the time, but it's so much work to look like that and to be in all that. And of course, once you get into it, all you can wish is to get out of it. So, but I don't feel overshadowed. Sometimes I do feel like I'm peeking out of a garage sale, though. It's a lot of stuff on.
Speaking of your body and the look that you put, Jimbo is known for these huge, fabulous boobs. What has been your
When you say the word boobs, it just makes me laugh. I don't know why. You
because
say
I never
boobs,
say it.
Boobs.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, boobs.
What's been your like biggest boob mishap that you've had touring with these crazy chest plates?
Right. Yeah, I've had a few. I do an act with my titty butt. Oh yeah, there I am.
There she is.
But I do an act where I put some silicone breast on my butt and I twerk and I get these titties going and spinning. And I was doing this tour in the UK with Bag of Chips, and I went to Luxembourg, and there was this really wild fan that latched onto my breast and wouldn't let go and was screaming and pulling, and someone pulled my nipples too hard on my titty butt, and they stretched my nipples essentially.
Oh no.
And when I went to Berlin the next night, I was backstage with Baga, and my friend Chanel was there taking photos, and she said, get your titty butt spinning. I want to take a picture. And so I'm giving her, because I'm backstage and I've got this titty butt, and it's these breasts filled with silicone spinning quite fast and long. And the nipples gave out because of they've been pulled too hard in Luxembourg, and my titty butt exploded.
Oh my God.
And the silicone went all up Bag of Chips and all over her head. She was soaked in this, like, it was a green slime. It was so strange.
And she's in like face and hair and everything?
Yeah, all up in her face and her hair. And the entire dressing room was soaked in this like green slime. For some reason, my titty butt, the silicone inside the breast had turned yellow, which was so strange. So it was almost like the entire place got slimed, and I just screamed and screamed, and then I was like, my ass exploded, and everyone was just screaming and screaming. It was really shocking. And then I just shook after, and they held me and stuff, and then they cleaned up my butt and everything. So
I was gonna say, stretched nipples are not new to Berlin, but exploding asses, I don't know.
Yeah. And then it happened again later on another trip. At that time, I was performing, I think, I'm not sure where that one was. I think maybe somewhere in Germany or something, but I can't remember. But maybe that one was in Italy. My ass gave out. But I was performing, and I usually, when I walk towards the crowd, everyone kind of goes in. They kind of come towards me. And in this performance, I've been spinning my titty butt, and then I left the stage, and everyone backed up, and they were backing away from me. And I remember thinking, like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, they don't usually run like that. And so then I'm dancing around, and I turned around and looked at the stage. I was like, oh my God, my ass had exploded. This time, all pure white, thick white. It just dropped all over the stage.
Oh my
and
God.
then the show had to be stopped because they had to replace the carpet on the stage. And they had to tear out the carpet off this outdoor stage.
My God.
And the promoter came on the stage to kind of clean up all of this silicone that had poured out of my butt. He ended up slipping in my titty butt juice and skinning his knee on the stage. So he got a little injury, and then they had to replace the whole carpet, and then I was able to finish the performance.
Okay, so that's why you're coming to North America, because Europe is like, you cannot perform here anymore. We can't afford the cleanup, all of this. But we
broke the stage. You hurt somebody. Yeah.
We do need to talk about a drag circus tour. It's kind of a Pee-wee's Playhouse for adults. 2 hours. Most queens get up on stage, do some lip syncs, do a skit, some audience participation, call it a day. It's this 2-hour show. What do you want the show to be the most? What do you want audiences to get out of it?
Well, I really want people to laugh, to be entertained, to leave going, what the fuck did I just watch? And I really want to create an escape for people to just come to feel immersed in an energy and a vibe, and then to just have a good time and really just laugh about, the absurdity of drag and character work and fun, and that's set in kind of this old-timey circus vibe. I love that energy of the circus and the idea of anything that's possible. And so, I hope that people come and they kind of have a sense of magic and wonder, and I hope that it kind of feels exciting and funny and weird.
Sometimes we don't talk a lot about the mental health and the physical health of being a drag queen, because that definitely takes a toll. We were talking about even, you're being new to the industry and the schedule. We have to talk about this tour schedule. 57 cities, and it's like one day, next day, next day, next day. I mean, look at that. Your graphics artist was like, F you.
I know, I'm terrified.
How do you what's your plan to maintain your physical health, your mental health?
Is there a physical therapist for all those breastplates? What's happening?
Oh God, I am a little. I was thinking in the shower this morning about that, going, "Oh my fucking God, I have not done that yet, and I'm tired." So I'm like, but I've been working my ass off developing the show and rehearsing and filming and writing music every single day. So, but what do I do on the road? I gave up drinking and doing any kind of crazy ass drugs. I just smoke a bit of weed now. Mm-hmm. So that's been really helpful to do that. And I know that we're on the rocks, but
we're doing it for you.
Water on the rock. Yeah, you're doing it for me because I'm drinking water, soda water, and I'm trying to take care of myself. Yeah. And it's easy when you're out every night and you're doing drag and you're in clubs. It's easy. I love partying. I love improv. Yes. And I was the same with partying. So it was like, do you want some of this? And I was, yes. And let's do some more. Mm-hmm. So becoming a professional drag queen, becoming a professional artist out in the world, I really wanted to make sure that I was taking care of myself in that way. So that has helped hugely with just not battling being hungover on the road, not having to pack up all my tits and ass with a freaking hangover. It was a game changer. And I've also started to go to the gym with my partner. So I'm trying to stretch and train and be strong because part of the reason why dancing is supposed to be a physical exercise is you're supposed to sweat and you're supposed to engage your muscles, and I don't like doing that. So
join the club, girl.
Especially
I know I'm like a soft dancer. I'm like they're always like, Jimbo, like hit your moves. I'm kind of soft, and that's why I'm not very good at sports. It's like I like to kind of take my own time, and I don't want anyone to kind of fuck around in my face and stuff. So I've never really been good at sports, and dancing is kind of taking its time becoming a strength of mine. So, but it's definitely it's better than it's ever been. I've been working with choreographer. I've got 2 backup dancers for the show. Wow. So I'm so excited to buck the house down and be a dancing diva doll of Dallas.
Yes.
And
Jimbo, before we let you go, we have to know, are you watching the new season 16?
I have, like, here and there.
I say, when do you have time?
The first episode, I was on the pit stop, so I watched the first episode with Trixie. Mm-hmm. Then I here and there picked up the second episode. I missed the next 2, and I watched the last one last night, or wherever 2 nights ago, whenever that was on. But I've been trying to watch it. I got to catch up.
That was fresh.
Have you been getting all of these tags of people saying that the audience is being reminded of you through playing Jane? Do you see the together when you're watching it?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, here's what I have to say. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Let's hear.
Okay, well, what I've heard, because you asked me about it, what I've seen is people are saying, and I'm going to say it so nobody else has to say it because I'm not in the drag workroom. They're saying that Plain Jane is Jimbo off of Wish. Like, Plain Jane is the Wish version of Jimbo.
Like, the thing with the booze I've seen. And then,
but it's going viral. People are saying Plain Jane's the Wish. I have my own thoughts about
acting challenge that was really similar to the one you and Jessica Wilde did. That was like, oh, this is very like Jimbo in Brooklyn Heights cosplay.
Yeah, and then I heard there was also like some reference in the talent show of being like, "Mama, you hungry?" kind of thing of my. So we're on television on a show for drag queens, and the whole point is have a good time and let other people join in on the fun. So I am not surprised at all. I love that aesthetic. I love that vibe. I love drag, and I'm happy to see that, the doors I've opened, as Gia Gunn said. I'm happy to see people taking their own vibe, being inspired. I've been inspired by so many people before me as well. And I think, I love it. I'm more titties, more weirdos, more fun, more awesome. I don't feel like any kind of threat or anything. I'm not worried like Plain Jane's coming for me or anything like that.
I wouldn't be worried, girl. I'll tell you that. I would not be worried.
I hope that we get to do a show together sometime, and maybe we'll have some sort of Jello wrestling. Maybe she'll smell my stink finger and I'll lick her burger finger.
Speaking of the doors you opened, did you get texts from every international queen ever being like, screw you, when you were the first international girl to play America's Drag Race straight through?
Well, that not so much screw you as thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. They're like, how did you do this?
They were like, I was so grateful. The girls and my sisters are super supportive. There's so many people around the world going, thank you for being authentic. Thank you for being real. Thank you for giving it your all. Thank you for, not backing down in the face of all kinds of critiques and all kinds of energy that, I had to kind of work through. So I don't know. I guess I forgot where I started there.
But they all did. They reached out and they're like, damn, you did it.
Oh, yes.
Now we can do it. Now we can do America.
Yes, they're all saying yes. Since you did it, they're like, okay, Jimbo, you are an international queen. You had your storyline, and then you were able to go to America and show your best and fucking snatch that crown and do the thing. So it's been inspiring for a lot of my sisters that have just said, thank you for opening that door and thank you for being amazing. And I hope that I get the opportunity to do that too. So,
cool.
And I hope that they do as well.
On the personal side, I'm always fascinated by the personal side of drag and being your friend and seeing you in the industry now and how it's changed personal. I want to know, you're in a relationship, obviously, we know. You work with your partner. You also co-parent. How do you fit all of this in and maintain that healthy kind of relationship? That must be difficult to keep the romance, to keep the personal time there.
Well, it is. And luckily, B is really sexy. So
yes.
That definitely helps. He's so handsome. And I'm also a workaholic. So I love working, and being productive is one of my love languages. And luckily he loves working as well. And he was an engineer prior to working together with me on our house of Jimbo is our brand and our business that we've built together. So I'm just so grateful that we have a similar interests and that we're able to work so closely together. And it can be exhausting, but it's also he's my biggest fan. Was one of the original supporters of mine that said, stop doing your regular job and focus on who you are as a designer and take a chance. And he's always encouraged me to be myself and to share myself and to be excited about who I am and what I want to do. So he's one of my biggest cheerleaders and one of my best friends. And he's just been absolutely instrumental in every single thing that I do. So it's awesome to have a partner like him.
I love that. Jimbo, is there anything you want to set the record straight on? Anything?
Set the record straight. I want to set the record straight.
Or record gay. However.
I have no idea. I think I've set all the records straight.
Yeah.
I love people. I love drag. I love my fans. I'm so grateful. I think anyone that thinks I'm a bitch, then I hope that they enjoy the show. I hope that, I hope that people see drag for what it is and drag race for what it is. It's artists, it's community, it's a spotlight, it's a moment. It's a moment for people to share themselves on a scale and hope to be received and loved. And that's all of these people are looking for and hoping for. Everyone, when they go into Drag Race, is hoping for connection, hoping for community, hoping for acceptance and love. And I hope that as Drag Race grows and continues to go, and as the fandom continues to kind of look at itself, that it just continues to try and elevate and lift itself beyond tearing each other down, and really about focusing on celebrating all of the energy and the love and the work that goes into presenting on Drag Race.
I absolutely love that. That was so well said.
That's beautiful.
Jimbo, I cannot thank you enough. The Drag Circus tour starts February 29th. Yes. I think in Michigan, right?
Yeah, we start in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, there we go.
Royal O. And it's starting on a leap year, which is really exciting. So I'm excited for that.
Part of history. Yes.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. And aren't you on a cruise in a couple of days too?
That's right. I leave in 2 days
My
for a cruise with
God.
Heidi and Closet, Candy Muse, Jessica Wilde. We are headed around the Caribbean, and we're going to be throwing parties every night, doing drag, having fun,
That's insane.
going wild on this boat. And I'm really excited to be with my sisters on that.
Awesome. And all your fans can go to houseofjimbo.com for everything Jimbo, the merchandise, the tour dates, everything. It's all there. Jimbo, I cannot thank you for spending the time with us, especially with your busy schedule, going to the gym and getting prepared for this cruise and this mega tour. There we go. Look at that muscle.
Thanks for having me on the rock.
Yes.
So nice
Thank
to
you, Jimbo. And we'll see you when you get to our side. Yes.
Awesome. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now has come time of the hour where we are going to drag. No, we're not going to drag race. We're just going to be honest from our point of view as a viewer. Me as an everyday person that's a fan of the show in entertainment. You as a drag queen newbie that kind of understands some of the background. So what are some of the things you want to bring up today?
I'm a little worried about Drag Race this year after watching those first 5 episodes. And now I was a fan of America's Next Top Model, which Drag Race pulled its inspiration from.
Right.
And there came a point where America's Next Top Model hit the wall. It stopped doing what it did well, and it kind of lost itself.
Because it was the same thing we've seen over and over and over.
But then they tried to swerve too hard and course correct, and there was a social media score, which was how well would your photo have done on Instagram or something. And I feel like
That's
them
dangerous
voting each
territory,
other
by the way.
off is the similar part of what is your social media score. It's I don't care what they think of each other.
And they're throwing so much in. It's you have a potion, you have immunity, and then it's
Well, I do like Immunity back. That was fun. Immunity does shake up some of this.
But there's so much of it. It's do they even know what the direction they want? And a lot of people are talking about the quality of the queens this year. But I feel that people say that every season.
year.
Okay.
But also, we survived past the It's Chocolate year where they all had gold bars when they were eliminated.
I like that, actually. Chocolate
As
bars
if that
so
wasn't
good.
the most produced thing that ever happened in the world.
Why didn't they correlate that with Wonka movie? That would have been something. But okay.
Well, this year is hard because the girls are shady, which the Drag Race audience now, especially, no offense, Gen Z, they like everybody to get along. They don't want the reads.
That's
they don't
not reality
want,
TV as we've seen on Bravo. Things are changing.
I lived for Mistress Isabel Brooks last year because she was being a drag queen. She was reading and kiki and fun. And now this year they have Plain Jane and Morphine to do it and some other, but
okay, well, we're going to get to that because we need to talk about Plain Jane and this whole kind of shade thing. But we're going to talk about UK.
Oh, UK versus the world, which Jimbo, I feel like UK versus the world is what brought Jimbo to that next step, his reign in that, and then going home early. Now they finally have part 2. The cast looks amazing. I'm so excited for Tia Coffee, rooting for her. But there's drama, as always, because representing America is Mayhem Miller from Southern California, our very own.
She's done the show a number of times.
She did season
What's the
10.
drama? Because I'm lost on this.
So Mayhem premiered in season 10, and by the time she was booked, she was already all the Drag Race girls' favorite girl who didn't do Drag Race. So when she got on, it was a lot of anticipation, very exciting.
Yep.
She won the first challenge right off the gate, and then she kind of fizzled out and went home in the middle of the pack. And then she came back for All Stars, and she was fine in All Stars. She was good, but I guess the competition got to her perhaps a bit because she ended up self-eliminating. She voted for herself to go home, which she was one of the only girls that year who did, and no one likes when people vote for themselves.
Yeah.
So then she got this opportunity, and the fandom. I mean, just to leave that kind of hate on a stranger's social media post to be like, yes, I saw you on a reality TV once. Let me give you my thesis statement on why you suck.
Right.
And you shouldn't be given another opportunity on reality TV. Yeah.
And it's so funny because just like with media goes up and down. Remember when she was the meme queen for her eyes?
For the eyes?
Yeah. And then she was everywhere. And it was like, I love her. And then she would do it at all the things. She's been so supportive of other queens. She's very honest on her social media though. And she will clap back. But she's also, and we've noticed this when she comes on the show, she's a very feeling person.
Oh, yeah.
She feels things deeply. It's not like she can just brush certain things off. And remember there was hate when she came on All Stars and she got like an Amazon outfit. And she's like, it costs a lot of money to do this, Well,
she'd posted, it was on Instagram story, so it's gone now, but she'd done a post finally that was like, you all, it's a TV show. Why am I experiencing the most hate I've ever experienced in my life for getting an opportunity? We haven't seen an inch of footage. We have no idea how she does. And like sometimes Drag Race casts a girl from the middle of the pack, and then in All Stars they end up in the final four, like Raja O'Hara or Sonique Love, like random people. And
I feel because of like the meme work and because of her community, and she performs all over the place, that it makes sense that she represents us because she's been doing the damn thing in the industry for so many years, regardless of Drag Race.
And she works all the time. Mayhem Miller has like, she's doing like 5 shows a weekend. She's busy out in California.
Do you think the haters are new and don't really understand her legacy or know where she comes from?
The haters only see what they see on TV. They're not following her weekly on Instagram to be like, where is she? And she's not in their face in the way like Delta Work or Maddie Morphosis is because of their
100%.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Like they suddenly had this great renaissance for their career. Like she's not doing that. She's doing brunch every Saturday, every Sunday.
She's busy working.
Yeah, she's working.
And not just sitting there
and
looking
entertaining
glamorous.
audiences. And
so, okay, Mayhem, you need a podcast. I know where you can record a podcast.
her and Chad Michael, not Chad Michael, Morgan McMichael's her bestie.
Well, Morgan Michaels had a podcast here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're besties. So there's like that whole connection too.
And they're so much fun.
That was fresh.
Just Morgan needs to be consistent because Morgan's all over the place.
Who's the other girl representing America? Scarlet Envy. Scarlet Envy? Scarlet.
So I would think that like Mayhem is like old school. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
We're sorry, Mayhem. We'll come to your fence, and I'm sure she's gonna knock it out of the park.
You're gonna,
yeah. That's so weird.
You're an American queen competing against the rest. You know you're gonna outlast at least some of the girls from like, Spain and Philippines and them.
Yeah. She's got the curves. I mean, she's got the sass.
She's got it.
Yeah.
People are gonna want to be in Mayhem's corner.
Yeah. Okay. She'll turn it around. I'm confident. Okay. Next.
Have you been keeping up with a mandatory meeting? Spoiler: if you haven't watched Drag Race, a mandatory meeting. This was her last week with us, but she's everywhere the week before because a photo recently resurfaced of a mandatory meeting during their college days, and it was like pure like trade. It looked like a Colgate commercial, and then Amanda was kind of like, because obviously it got a lot of attention, people were like, talk about it, and I think it forced her out as trans to be like, that part isn't me anymore, and like this is who I am now. And that's really amazing and brave. And she's the first girl from this season to come out as trans. And
100%. And so what she said, because I read a few articles, and she goes on. She says she's on her trans journey. And before, I guess she had a really toxic breakup before she went into Drag Race. So she was going into Drag Race with all this drama. And part of the drama was because her ex wasn't along for the journey on her trans journey. She's not fully on the trans journey. She says, she's kind of like in that non-binary kind of area, but it's going towards that. So she's very honest about her journey. Who knows where it would end up? But she says it was really inspired. Yeah, that's the picture that everybody, and it must be tough because everybody was fawning over this picture. There's the articles that say, who's the trade of the season? I've written an article like that, and we pick all the hot boys, right? Yeah. So it must be hard dealing with all of that while you're on your trans journey. So I'm glad that she has the confidence because she went in kind of not confident because of her dealing with her ex, and then she walks into this workroom.
And Plain Jane zeroes in on her. My gosh.
It's like she could smell the fear or something. So there's Plain Jane, we know, very attractive.
Gosh.
So I want to morph this in because Amanda said that her coming out was kind of also inspired by the bullying that went on to the workroom. Now we know that there's shade in the workroom, but to use the word bullying is very triggering, and it's a pretty strong statement. So I want to ask you: do you think Plain Jane, what she's been doing in the workroom, would you classify it as shade or as bullying?
It's so hard because if one of my good friends in Palm Springs, like, who is more glamorous than me, because obviously like there's different levels of like what everyone's doing in drag,
100%.
whether you're doing like female illusion or drag clown, or like everyone's different. So like for me, I'm more like a clown, like body looking. If I was next to someone who does full on female illusion, but we knew each other, I'd be like, oh, it's just like shade. It's fun.
Yeah.
But these people had met like 8 days prior, and I just feel like there's a familiarity in the reading of it where you're like, no, you all, like, the reality is you all are strangers to each other, and you are reading this girl below the cement on national TV, and like give each other a chance a little bit, but also Plain Jane's making a TV show. Like, she is making a show.
Okay, so let's talk about this. But here's the thing about Plain Jane. It's every opportunity she gets, she goes after Amanda. She's not going after other queens that I think other queens need some help too.
The one girl with the braces is she's in trouble.
She's not understanding. I think like she's kind of far beyond. She's like, I got this.
And then oh my god, and Geneva Carr, God bless her too.
It's a little messy.
But it's just like
it's a little messy this season.
And then they're going after Amanda.
And see, so that's why I think that's bullying, because when you pick one person out, and then I think she senses that she came in feeling a little bit weaker, and what an easy prey. But Amanda didn't give sass back to be like, yes, let's keep up this level of banter to make it fun for TV. She was like, you could see that she was hurt in everything. You could see even in the workroom, every little comment, you could see it chip away at her. And look, she was sent home, whether it's because she didn't feel confident, whether it's because she just couldn't get it together because her mind was centered on that. She just couldn't get it together.
Yeah.
So at what point do you and you know reality TV, you know Housewives, you know every aspect of reality TV, Vanderpump Rules, what have you. At what point do you know what you're doing to play for the cameras, for the one-liners, the memes, the fan interaction? Because even a villain gets attention. But at what point does that become too much? Because I have to tell you, I thought Plain Jane was so handsome, very talented. I don't care how well he does on the show now. I can't stand him.
I'm still rooting for him. I mean, keep in mind there are other people who've been villains and won.
Just a mean girl.
I think it makes a difference when everyone is in on it and everyone's on the same page. When you're a housewife, especially, and it changes city to city. Like Potomac and Atlanta, they will out your biggest secret that you've kept your whole life. Beverly Hills, at least they play accordingly. They're like, all right, Kyle, you don't want to be a lesbian? You're not a lesbian to us right now.
Wink, wink.
All that, yeah. So
let's go to a clam bake.
But Drag Race, I feel like Amanda wasn't part of it. Plain Jane had just zeroed in on her and started like when Tamisha Iman and Candy Muse had their epic fights, and it became of a very big part of their season was them going at each other. I never felt like Candy Muse was picking on Tamisha Iman. Tamisha Iman was picking on. They were equals who were 100%. Just going at it. Last year, I didn't think Isabel Brooks was bullying anybody. Nope. Like even the twins when she was going after them, like it was fun shade. It was fine. I just don't think Amanda was part of it in a way that Jinx Monsoon wasn't part of it when Roxy Andrews and them were going after her.
So I think you just said it best. When I look at what Plain Jane does, I'm not laughing at her shade comments. They're not funny. They're just not funny. And if a joke doesn't land once, twice, 3 times, it's not a joke. And there's no craft there. And it literally, every time I see Plain Jane up on the screen, I'm just like,
but she's so beautiful. Her drag
gorgeous,
is very
talented,
good.
But it takes away from it. I just don't like the person.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, at what point do you become a villain too much? And then, do you think Plain Jane's going to be a popular going around to the clubs after the show finishes and people are going to want to see her on stage?
Yes, because I think the fandom, she is, I mean, all tea, all shade, the fandom, she's still a skinny, white, beautiful girl. And they're going to forgive all that. If this was a plus size queen, if she was a queen of color, if she wasn't painted that mug that looks like Brooklyn Heights, like then we'd approach her differently.
Remember when
But
Silky
she has
did the
every
whole tour
privilege.
thing?
Yeah, she has
And people were like,
everything
no.
you could want.
People didn't want Silky.
No,
they
so they didn't want Silky
They
like
tore
that,
her
no.
live performances apart. They were like, nope.
Even Eureka O'Hara, like she was a bit prickly,
Yeah.
but she
Yeah.
wasn't the beauty of plain
Yeah,
she gets away
yeah.
with a lot for the package that it arrives
Well,
in.
that's that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
So, but a Plain Jane, if you were on Grindr, I might still message you. And then our last topic, and I want to bring this up. There's now, if you go to YouTube, there's like a club called Roscoe's. I forget where it is. Just look up.
Oh yeah, it's in Chicago, I believe.
So they're getting all the queens. I don't know how they're doing these interviews because usually World of Wonder won't let them talk about the show while it's airing. I don't know how they're getting away with it, but these queens are talking. So here's the facts that came out from the last one. Remember how they did RuPaul's new singles and they had to write their own verses and it was the remix? Well, Nymphia Wind, we saw her, she was kind of struggling. There she is. She was struggling to write her own verse. So one of the queens from the series threw her under the bus and said, well, no, I had to write her verse for her because she just she was not capable at all. So she had to write the whole verse. That was not Nymphia's verse at all. Now, we know that there's a language barrier. We know that,
I mean, that's just production. There was in season 5, before they were even a hit. Season 5 is what changed the trajectory of the show. Even then, they knew they wanted Jinx to win. They knew the arc was going to be the ugly duckling story. So in the last few episodes, they had asked Detox and other people in the room to fix Jinx's makeup before she walked the runway.
How is that fair?
No, that's what they were saying. It wasn't. But I mean, it's a show we're producing. It's like, the Housewives have every conversation you see on the Housewives is happening and it is improv, but it might be the third take of that improv conversation.
Well, here's the thing. I'm in a few episodes. You can see me in the background of Shaws of Sunset and Beverly Hills Housewives. And we have been in the room many times where they said, okay, let's stop. And can you say that again? And we need the crowd to be quiet because we can't hear, and it's like you said, they're just rehashing what they've already done.
Yeah.
But that's not a competition series. This is like, and what Nymphia's first reaction was to write a bunch of gibberish, making fun of the fact that she couldn't write a verse. And I thought that was funny. But I don't think the queens should be making each other, be successful. Or, can you imagine if somebody else made somebody else's outfit that they couldn't sew? This is a competition series.
Too.
Helping is one thing, but when you're doing the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
And, she didn't go home. I would have loved for one of the judges, because they know everything that's going on. The producers are like, here's what happened. Pick on this, pick on that. Not one judge said, hey, Nymphia, how did you do with the language for this? For Nymphia to say, oh, well, I didn't write it. That would have been a good moment of TV to call her on that.
Yeah, but I think they were probably trying to protect her because they wanted her to last long. I'm just shocked it was Amanda.
Yeah, because I thought that they would want that rivalry to continue unless they saw themselves that they could be getting themselves into a trauma situation.
Possible. I thought maybe it was like that Amanda. Oh, I just totally lost my train of thought of it.
It's all the wine we're having and on the rocks. See, we get classy. We don't know what we're saying.
See, we lost the train of thought because the wine train hit me in the caboose.
But they could have seen that Amanda was really going through a traumatic experience, and then they could have gotten in trouble for harboring this kind of harassment level, and that would be a really interesting harassment suit because it's reality TV, what you sign up for, and I know you sign a contract like this from what I've heard.
They own you.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you harbor a really hostile environment, there's repercussions for, I don't care who you are, in any work environment.
What's weird too is like they're going to have to tour with each other. Like it's not just this happened a year ago when they filmed it. They're stuck with each other for another year on top of it.
And Plain Jane is not dropping it, by the way. On social media, she's not dropping it. The smart thing for her to do to get fans on her side like me that were on her side, we were rooting for you. We're all rooting for you. She should have made a public apology saying, I see how this could be damaging and I apologize for my actions or something. That would be the smartest thing. If she had a good PR rep, her PR rep said, this is what you're doing, whether you want to or not.
PR rep, they just probably spent $80,000 on gowns. You want them to spend for PR rep too?
Well. All right, final take. Who do you think is going to take home the crown?
I think the top 4... I think Plain Jane's definitely in the top 4.
Yeah, 100%.
I want Q to win. She's my favorite.
She got a little whiny this last episode. Little whiny.
Because she's like, why am I not winning? Why are these other hoes winning?
I do think that she should
Nymphia
have
will
won.
be in the top. I think Nymphia, Plane, and Q will be in it. And I don't know who the fourth will be. It's a total wild card right now who the fourth person in the top 4 will be.
Well, we know for diversity they have to have a chubby one. They just have to. They
Oh no, I know who it'll be. It'll be Saphira. She's like a thicker girl. She's big. She's fabulous.
Do you know?
She won the first week. She wears like the big hats during her confessional.
Oh,
she's from
got
Philly.
It. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
She's gonna last.
Yeah.
So that'll be the top 4.
I feel like she's playing it kind of safe in the middle area.
I think she's probably playing the long game. Where
Yep.
she was like, they're not,
100%.
gonna cut me yet. So
Yeah.
I'll just be quiet until they need me, and then I'll be boisterous.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was our hot take on what is happening this season. Josh, tell everybody where you want them to find and follow you.
You can find me at Josh Ferri to follow me on Insta. Insta's like the only platform I really use anymore. And also, if you want to follow my drag, it's Norma Lee High, and you can follow that too.
All right, and you can follow my personal Instagram at Alexander is on air. And that's all, folks. It's always a grab bag of fun here every weekend on The Rocks. Big thank you to our engineer and station owner, Tony Sweet, our social media clip editor, Alexis Mendez. Coming up next time, we are chatting with Mink Stoll and Peaches Christ, if you can believe that. That's all coming up. Please like, share, subscribe so we can continue bringing this fabulous programming coming your way. Oh, we also started putting little tidbits on YouTube Shorts, and it's doing very well. So look us up on YouTube Shorts. And until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and if you drink, stay tipsy, even with wine.
Cheers.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioShow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.